Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Alex the Historian. That is not my actual title, that is just a stage name, but I'm just going to check that this is recording right now. Yeah, it's recording. Alright, so we are about to play Titanic Demo 401. The Titanic Honor and Glory team has just released the all of the spaces that they intended to release with this 401. They released it last night. So I'm going to play it. Now, we've previously been looking at first class spaces, so this time we're going to look starting at second class, and we're also going to see some third class spaces today. Well, all of the third class spaces today as well, I mean to say. So we're going to start second class at night. Now, what's funny is I actually already just recorded for an hour and a half, actually, an hour and a half of me exploring the second and third class spaces. Problem was, I was exploring it during the daytime, and for some reason, the lag was so terrible. It just wasn't a usable video, and I didn't understand what was going on. I tried adjusting the settings and everything, and the lag was just really terrible. So basically, what we're going to be doing is exploring in night mode instead, because for some reason night mode works perfectly fine. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. So this is a demo from Titanic Honor and Glory. This does not represent their final game. Their final game, this is in Unreal Engine 4. Their final game will be in Unreal Engine 5, and it will be a lot more detailed than what you see here, which I know is hard to believe. But it'll look really great, and in the finalized game, you should be able to explore 100% of the ship. You should be able to operate elevators, see the engines running, move furniture, all kinds of interactivity with the ship. And you'll be able to change day and night settings, your weather settings, all that kind of stuff. But this demo is far more restrictive. There's only up to 30% of the ship, which is still a lot compared to all their other demos. But you can explore about 30% of the ship on this demo. Not much interactivity, but it still looks very nice. So let's begin. We are in the third class area. Maybe I'll start from the top instead. Last time I kind of just started from the middle here, and that just didn't work out very well. So we're going to go to the top. If you've seen my previous videos, I've explored all of the first class spaces, both in day and night mode. So if you want to see that, then I suggest looking on my channel for day and night mode of first class spaces. Today is all second and third class. And then eventually I'll make more videos where I show the entire ship in one video, which will probably be like a 2.5 hour video, honestly. We are now near the aft well deck, looking towards the poop deck. This is nighttime, obviously, so you can see all the stars are out. Really lovely. I actually really like this. So down this way, we came from the aft second class staircase. Down this way, if I sprint, you can see the Café Parisien, which is first class, and it's separated by this door here, which would normally be closed. Now we're going to go into the second class forward staircase, and we'll go to the top. Because I just want to go from the top, work my way all the way to the bottom, and then after doing all the second class spaces, we will explore third class. This is as high up as we can go. As you can see, they had an elevator. I think they only had one elevator for second class. But we can go out onto the boat deck. So the boat deck is a lot more expanded on the port side of the ship. The starboard side is still very restricted compared, well, it's a lot less restricted than the previous versions of this demo. This is as far as we can go on the starboard side. But you can see all the way forward. By the way, you can adjust your focal length on this game, so you can kind of zoom in and look at stuff, or zoom out. It looks kind of weird that way. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think that works well. That's too close. That's fine. All right, so this is one of the skylights over one of the domes. I'm thinking the aft first class grand staircase dome. That's what I'm thinking. We can go up here. And just kind of explore. Not much to see in this area, to be totally honest with you. But it is cool to be able to explore. That's the cool part about it. This is the doorway to the dog kennel. During the daytime, you can kind of see the crates back there. Not too much, but you can kind of see them back there during the day. Nighttime, obviously, we can't see nothing. So, some lifeboats. Alright, so there's a lot of this boat deck that is explorable compared to the previous versions of this particular demo, which I thought is pretty cool because in the previous version, I'll show you where they kind of ended it, but we'll kind of sprint a little bit. Let's see. That area is blocked by chairs. As you can see, it's can't go there. Now I go this way. We'll go down there in a second. That's a doorway leading down. But first, we'll kind of go here. I'll show you where they previously had ended our ability to walk on the boat deck. So before, there would have been chairs right about where I'm standing to prevent you from going any further aft. But they've opened that all up, as you can see. This is the previous area where we had access. That goes into the grand staircase. They've opened this up a little bit more, not by much, maybe 10 feet or so. So you can go up to this railing here and just kind of look up. But everything forward of here is for crew only anyway. So that kind of makes sense, sort of. Even though you can actually walk up to the bridge in this demo. So, again, I would take you in there, but that's for another video. Eventually, I'll do a video where I'll explore the entire ship all at once. But this today is just second and third class spaces, just to save on time. But what's cool is we can go up here. They've opened this up a little bit more than they did last time. Chairs still block our way from going anywhere further, but we can climb up here and go to the compass tower. So for those who don't know, the compass tower is pretty much sitting at the dead center of the ship for the most part, which means that it's one of the most stable areas on the ship. So if they need to get a good compass reading during stormy weather, they can climb up here to this compass platform and get a much better reading than they would on any other compass on the ship. Thankfully, they still had a lot of technologies that allowed for, safety and redundancy when it comes to navigation. So even if they couldn't reach the compass tower, they still had other means of figuring out where they are. All right, so we've seen that. Time to head back to second class areas, but on the way there, let's go down this way. We will go through this doorway that I promised that we would do. So, when you go through this doorway, it takes you down into the promenade deck below. The Queen Mary has a lot of stairs like this as well. I know that seems kind of random to some new people here, but I'm not much of a Titanic expert. Actually, I'm not really a Titanic expert at all. That's not what I focus on. I love the Titanic, but I don't know much about it compared to other people. What I do know a lot about, though, is the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary has certainly been a major focus for me. As you can see, we can't really walk out too far, but we can kind of see down that way and down that way. But yeah, the Queen Mary is is something I know very well. So if you hear me making a lot of references to the Queen Mary here, that would be why. Also, this doorway to the left is the main lounge. To the right is one of the grand staircase, the aft grand staircase. Since we're right here, why don't I show you guys the main lounge at night? They've made some changes to it in this version of this demo. There is some lighting issues here, but they still have more bug fixes to make. So this is what the room looks like. There is an issue with the lighting here. But again, like I said, there are more bug fixes to make. Sorry. I'll kind of take it a bit slow through this room. This room has a lot of detail. In fact, this is the second time today I've loaded into second class, and this little like pale area where the furniture is suddenly a lot lighter than this furniture. This wasn't here 30 minutes ago when I first came into second class. When I first loaded into this game at night. So 30 minutes ago it wasn't like this. So I bet if I were to like sign out and sign back in, this wouldn't look so bad. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about the way that this game loads in that not everything works. Again, there is another bug fix on its way, but it might take till March before they actually implement it. Now, sorry for the lag. I'm just moving through these spaces really quickly, so. But the lag was way worse during the daytime. It was so bad, I had to stop recording. Because it was just... I don't even want to get into it. It was so frustrating. Alright, so... So we're all the way at the top of second class, and we're going to start working our way towards the bottom and looking at all the second class spaces down there. Yeah, there's the well deck, there's the poop deck. Now, let's head inside. Come on. Oh, no, lag again. I don't know what it is. So there is no A deck for second class. Because A deck is entirely first class beyond this wall. Those are ventilators on the other side of this glass. But during the daytime, there was windows on the opposite wall that allowed light in. So, see, the lag is getting really bad again. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sign out and sign back in to second class. Come on. So I'm going to pause here. Escape. Quit to main menu. Yes. Explore demo 401. Night. Second class. Begin. In my last record, because like I said, I did a whole recording of this before I started this one, because the last recording, it degraded over the amount of time I was on the game. I'm thinking it has something to do with going to the boat deck. I think whenever I go to the boat deck, things get degraded. Now, I'm not going to go all the way to the boat deck again. I want to show you... There we go. Okay. Don't worry, we're not on the boat deck. We're just going... to this space here. So this is the second class smoking room. Sorry, it took me a minute to think about it. Easily one of the most beautiful places on the ship, honestly. Looks really great. Yeah, I love looking at all the little details and stuff. It doesn't, in a way, it doesn't compare to the main lounge in terms of how much detail that the developers put into it. That's because the main lounge was like meant to be like, you know, the best of the best in terms of what they were designing for their modeling skills. This was kind of next up, you know. So there is a little bit less detail in this room in terms of how the graphics and the polygons and all that jargon. But what I do like is the floor. Let me zoom into that. Oh my gosh. That floor is really real looking. That looks like real honest to goodness linoleum. Sorry. Yeah, that looks really real. I like that. All right, so can I zoom out? Yeah, one more time. There we go. Nice. So that is the second class smoking room. As you can see, they had like little booths here for you to sit down. The leather might be a little bit too shiny. I don't know. To me, it seems a little too shiny. So I'm not going to go up another level. In fact, we're going to go down a level. Because I feel like if I go back to the boat deck, it's just the lag is gonna be persistent throughout the rest of the game. Now, we're on C deck. This is kind of where we loaded in, actually. And I'll tell you why. So on the live stream, they showed that these doors here are the gangways where second class would have loaded into the ship, and then they would have just crossed this little indoor promenade area. By the way, this way is to the first class C deck staterooms and suites. I know it says surgery, don't pay attention to that. This way is the first class C deck suites. So we have been here before in previous videos. But yeah, so the second class would have come in this way, and they would have kind of spread out and gone downstairs to their cabins. This is the second class library. So it also kind of acted as like a main lounge for second class. I'm repeating all this stuff, by the way, from what Titanic Honor and Glory told me. I am not a Titanic expert. Again, my thing is the Queen Mary, you know, maybe Mauritania, and especially Disneyland. That's kind of my focuses. I am trying to learn more, though. I am trying to learn more, especially about Titanic, because a lot of my viewers are Titanic fans, as am I. I'm a Titanic fan. I just don't know as much about it as other people do. This is a really nice room. You know, it's pretty decent. It's. I think what I like is the pattern on the furniture. The pattern is top notch. Yeah. There's something about it. I like it. The carpet is really cool. You can see the fibers in the carpet. Of course, when you zoom in this close, it's like little tiny mountain ranges. Really neat. So yes, what makes this a library is the one bookcase all the way in the back. That's it. That's what makes it a library. It's interesting. The Queen Mary had a library that was smaller than this in terms of square footage, but had way more books than this. But again, this also served kind of as like a main lounge. Looks like somebody was playing chess here, had a nice glass of wine. All right, so let's move on. So this is the other staircase. We're kind of zigzagging back and forth between the staircases, taking one down, taking the other one down, that kind of thing. So just let you know, I like this furniture here, this wicker furniture. Looks great. I like the blue color and the pattern. Really nice. It's more Titanic linoleum. And again, like I said, this demo is not fully representative of the finished game. It is just a demo of spaces that they have modeled for reference. Oh, that's interesting. You see, this is the second class dining saloon. Okay. In the daytime mode, these doors are shut. Those are like that one and that one are open. So weird. I didn't even know it had doors here, because normally the way to get in is through the side doors. Unless that... Oh, no, I'm thinking of this staircase. That's why, because this staircase you have to enter from the side. There we go, see? This is the staircase with the elevator, by the way. They have an elevator. I'll show you the inside of the elevator soon, but let's just explore this saloon. I'll leave it there for a second so you can get a nice view of this room. It is really quite lovely. I know some people said that they kind of prefer it over the first class dining saloon, and in a way I have to agree. There is something about these natural colored wood panels that just feels more cozy, whereas the first class dining room is all just stark white, just white. It's not bad looking. It's just very, very white. So I like this wood paneling. That's also one of the reasons why I like the Queen Mary so much. I'm actually more a Queen Mary fan than I am Titanic. That doesn't mean I don't like Titanic. I love Titanic. I just love Queen Mary more. And like I said, part of the reason why is because all the beautiful, rare wood paneling that they have on the Queen Mary. My friend asks why, there are chairs here where there's obviously no table between them. From what I might know about it is, I think the ends of these tables, there's an underside that could fold up and connect the two tables together for when they needed these extra seats. It was just additional capacity, but otherwise they left it down to make the room look more like a restaurant where there are more individual tables. So they wanted it to look like a restaurant, not so much a cafeteria, if you know what I mean. That's why they did what they did. Here is... I can't tell if this is supposed to be crystal or if it's wood. It looks like wood. Or silver. It is so ambiguous. I can't tell if it's wood, crystal, or silver. I'm guessing silver. Okay. So that is the second class dining saloon. Now let's make our way to the next level down. As you can see, the second class spaces on Titanic, it was very much constricted, very small compared to the first class spaces. Of course, it's like that on every ship, but what I mean is, in terms of length of the ship that it takes, it's not much. It's just between these two staircases. On the Queen Mary, it's very different because a lot of the second class spaces on the Queen Mary take up a much longer distance than this. But there is a similarity, which is that the two ships definitely, of course, have all their focus on first class. This is an auxiliary gangway door. I heard for when they just needed an extra gangway to allow passengers on and off. This wooden thing up here is the gangway itself that they could take it down from those hooks and then install it here so passengers could offload if they needed it. They wouldn't have generally needed it, though. This is the second class chief steward's office slash stateroom. Sorry. And we can actually go inside. So if we go here and make a left, this is his stateroom. Pretty neat. Nice little tiny space. Give you a good moment to look at that. And then if I go to the other side and kind of turn around, you can see it from here. Pretty bare bones, but still nicer than generally what the other stewards got. You know, this guy was the chief second class steward, so of course he got his own room, and it looks nice. And it doubled as an office, as you can tell. So now we're about to start seeing second class cabins and such. They are all closed. None of them open up. But here's a cool little sight to see. This is a map of White Star Line steamer routes around the world. So you can see a lot of them go across the Atlantic, but there's still plenty more routes that go, you know, around the continent of Africa, around South America, all the way to Australia. Some of them go to India. You know, White Star Line wasn't just the Atlantic. It was all over the world, and so was Cunard as well. So a lot of people forget that because so much emphasis is put on the Atlantic because that was their main, you know, their main business. But so much emphasis put on the Atlantic, people actually forget. Now, we can't go any lower, but from what I heard, the deck below us is more second-class cabins. So there isn't really much to see, especially since none of them are open. Oh, I already went there. This area is actually the third class entrance. These doors would have been shut, and the third class, they could have gone either right or a little bit left, mostly left. Right, there's not much to go because beyond this area here, beyond this threshold, which is a watertight door, beyond this threshold is second class cabins. So because we're in second class, I'll go ahead and show them to you. This is one of the cargo hatches. So they could use the electric cranes up on the top deck, remove these steel beams, and lower cargo into the lower holds. The steel beams are there not for support of the ship. The ship doesn't necessarily need it. The steel beams are there so they could actually lay temporary flooring. So if they need to, they can actually load extra cargo on extra levels of floors to maximize usage of space. So that's why they have steel beams there. So second class cabins, just to let you know. And I could cut across to the other side. This is the second class purser's office. So if you've seen my other videos, you've seen the first class purser's office and how big and fancy that one is. This one's still, you know, relatively big. Not as fancy, of course, it's second class, but very nice looking still. Purser's office. More second class cabins. I do not know what these are. They look like water fountains, right? But I can't tell if they're wash basins or water fountains. And do they activate or do they constantly pour water? I don't know, honestly. I could sit here and try to think about it, but I don't know if I would be even close to correct. So, more cabins. I'm just showing you where all these cabins are. unfortunately, like I said, you can't go in any of them. They're all closed. But if you're new to this demo, you can see the insides of some first-class cabins and staterooms. So let's go down another level, because the other staircase we couldn't go any farther down. This staircase we can. We can go down one more level. So this is the bottom of this staircase. This, I think, is a doorway to another staircase that goes down, but it's for crew only, from what I remember. Again, more cabins down here, but I'll just show you where they are. 2 there. 2 here. Pretty neat. It's actually really cool to be like walking through these areas because you don't normally see this much of Titanic. I mean, I can't think of anywhere where you can actually see second-class spaces on Titanic except Titanic Honor and Glory. More second-class cabins. This cabin right here is the assistant steward's office. So there was a chief steward's office that we saw a few decks above, but this is the assistant steward's office from what I remember. If I have that wrong, please correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. There we go. Sorry, I sprinted right there and I forgot that we don't need to. All right, so we have seen pretty much all of the second-class spaces on the Titanic. I got through that actually pretty quickly. The third-class spaces are kind of a maze. Sorry. Important text message just came in. I have to read this. Let me just turn this around so you have something to look at real quick. So, sorry, I'm preparing to move to a new apartment soon. So, my sister is going to get me a moving gift. It's going to be pots and pans so I can cook food. All right, so that is it for second-class spaces. How should we do third class? Should we... Because third class is literally right here. Why don't we just do third class from here? So we are in currently what's originally called Scotland Road. By the way, in case you're wondering if we've been down here, we have. This is that cargo hatch I was telling you about. See? So we've been down here. Let's go back to Scotland Road. So Scotland Road technically begins through this corridor here. And this is all... I know like parts of Scotland Road were available in Demo 3, but this is a much more expanded version of Scotland Road. So you'll notice a lot of third-class spaces are actually like mostly below decks. So we'll see as much of it as we can. This is the entry of third class. So you'd enter through here, those doors would be shut, and this is just more cabins and stuff, but it's very dark because there's even a stairwell right there that goes down into more cabins. I don't know if you can see the railing, but yeah, so they would have gone here. They would have had a few cabins to the right, but mostly they would have had to turn left further down Scotland Road. Again, this is all part of Scotland Road that we never got to see before on previous demos. So this is all brand new to us. You can see we are beneath the watertight, the line of the watertight bulkhead. So there's watertight doors everywhere. And more third-class cabins. Now we're coming up on this big room over here. I'm just taking a look around. This big room is the engineer's mess hall, essentially. So, not the firemen, not the stokers and the firemen and the trimmers. This is the engineers. These are the higher ranked people that run the machinery below decks. So this is where they could have relaxed. It's a nice room by all means. You have here a picture of His Majesty King George V. In Titanic's time, he had only been king for up to a year. Not even, maybe a little over a year. So let's just say about a year. He had been king for about a year at this point. He is also the same king who was there for the christening and the launching of the RMS Queen Mary in 1934. Unfortunately, he never lived to see the Queen Mary enter service in 1936. His son, King Edward VIII, would see that happen. King Edward VIII was never officially crowned. He didn't last that long. He ended up abdicating, and after that we had King George V, which is the father of the current monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. Little history for you. So, I love history. I know my stage name is Alex the Historian. That's just a cute little stage name for my channel. In reality, I'm just a history buff, and I try to learn as much as I can. I'm always open to learning more. I love all kinds of history, especially like semi-modern British history in terms of 1800s, 1900s. Spam phone calls. So what we're looking at is Scotland Road. Again, we've been on Scotland Road, but this is the part that everybody thinks of when they think of Scotland Road. So, but what's really cool is, so this whole demo, they haven't included shear. Shear is the curvature of a ship. It's lower in the middle than it is at the ends of the ship. That is to add extra rigidity and strength when these ocean liners go over the massive stormy waves of the sea. Now, this demo doesn't have shear in it because it's hard to implement that in Unreal Engine 4. But in Unreal Engine 5, they will have shear. However, this area of Scotland Road is the only place on the demo that has shear. So I'll give you an example. If you look at the doorknobs of the rooms, look at all the doorknobs, they make a curvature. They're higher up at the ends than they are in the middle. And that is an example of the shear here. And that is, as they said, the developers of the game, said that is an accurate shear curvature. So I know it looks very subtle, but that is accurate to this to Titanic. If you've ever been on the Queen Mary, the shear... Oh, is that too far? That's... No. What the... If you've ever been on the Queen Mary, the shear on the Queen Mary is much more pronounced. Maybe that's just because the Queen Mary is longer, so you see more of the ship's shear, as opposed to the slightly shorter hallways of the Titanic. So maybe that's why it looks that way. Maybe it's the same curvature. But in the finalized Titanic game, there will not only be shear, but also camber, which is the outwards curvature from the center line of the ship to the outer edges of the ship. So there will also be camber in the finalized thing. So now we're going to go down here. This is the third class dining saloon. I wanted to show you all this during the daytime. I feel like no, that's too far away. I wanted to show you all this during the daytime because it looks so great during the daytime. But unfortunately, the textures and there's something wrong with the daytime version of the game currently. They need to do another bug fix because all the chairs appeared white because their reflectiveness was not functioning properly. There's a certain reflectiveness because of the glossy finish that's on the chairs, and they were just ultra reflective. So all the chairs looked white, and the walls had like bright white speckles on them, almost like it looked like someone, like a spray paint can of white paint had exploded in the room. That's what it looked like. So for now, the nighttime version is the best version you can see of these rooms. But what's kind of cool is that the third class dining saloon is divided in half because they had a watertight bulkhead here. So you can see the watertight door. See, I feel like that is just, it's too zoomed in. I'm going to change the, hold on. The field of view is way too, apply, save. Oh, back, resume. There we go. This is how I like the field of view. I don't like it too wide. I don't like it too narrow. I thought 86 was perfect. It looks like a point of view that your eyes might have. So 86, if you're wondering, is the field of view. You should preset it. And you can still, after you set it to 86, you can still zoom in and zoom out. But it resets to a normal field of view. So there we go. So yeah, it's divided in half by the watertight door. And as you can see, this is the back side of the other staircase. This is the front side of this staircase. They both lead to the same area, so don't think that, you know, like, oh, shoot, I'm going to get lost if I go up one of these, because I know I did. But yeah, it's the same staircase, just opposite sides. And it takes you back out into Scotland Road. And that back there is where we came from. See, so we just came up this staircase, and around the corner is the one we went down into. Pretty cool. It's a little thing I didn't realize when I first ever went down there for Demo 3. So yeah, I like Scotland Road. Look at the gloss on the floors there. Pretty realistic from a distance. When you zoom in on it like I just did, it doesn't look so good, but from a distance it looks great. This is the Stewards Lavatory. It is not open for us to walk into, but we can look at it from here. Really neat. It's obviously not finished. The demo version will never be finished, but again, when the game itself is done, you should be able to roam 100% of the ship, interact with it, move furniture if you wanted to, you know, turn lights on and off, change the daylight time, change the weather. You should be able to do so much with the finalized game. This is the second class stewards dormitory. So the stewards lived here in this room. This is where they slept. As you can see, no privacy. They were all stuffed in here. So many men. It's one thing to share a room with like 4 people like you might do on a cruise ship today if you worked for a cruise line, but to have like 20 people in a room, I don't even know if that's how many it is. I don't want to sit here and count. That would just bore you guys, but it would bore me too. But you know, essentially approximately 20 people. It's insane. You know, we wouldn't do that today. So here's another really cool treat. We're going to go down into the boiler room. This was another area that was unfortunately during the daytime affected by something wrong, like some kind of bug. It looked like a white spray paint can had exploded in here. There was speckles of white everywhere. But now we get to go down. Let's go up first. So we can go up these ladders. We are following the... Come on. We are following the air cavity, I'm going to call it that, air cavity between the funnel exhausts, the boiler exhausts, and the rest of the ship. So this air cavity allowed the ambient air of the boiler room to vent outside. So that way they could replace it easily with fresh air that is being pumped down into the boiler room. We can kind of zoom in, and you can see, it's hard to tell, but that's the funnel on the right. In the middle, this big giant pipe in the middle allows them to vent steam from the boilers. Like, especially when the Titanic was getting ready to sink, they were trying to vent the steam of the boilers so that way the boilers wouldn't explode, or at least not explode as badly. When it hit water, cold water. So they were trying to vent the steam, and that's how it goes out. To the left of that, the smaller pipe with the ladder next to it, that goes up to the whistles. During the daytime, if you look up here, you can see the whistles really easily. But yeah, from here, the whistles look very dark because it's nighttime. All right, now let's go down to see the boiler. All right, let's go further down. Fun fact for you. So, you know Titanic has whistles. But did you know that Queen Mary's steam-powered horns are also called whistles? Yes, that is true. Even though they are horns, technically, they are called whistles. The company that made Queen Mary's whistles is called Cockham Sonics, and they list them as Typhon whistles. And the reason why is because there's an old maritime tradition that these steamships always had whistles. So even though they switched to horns, you know, in the 1900s, they still called them whistles by maritime tradition. There's a lot of traditions that remain, and that's one of them. Even though they're horns, they call them whistles. So yes, it is okay to say that Queen Mary had whistles, even though she had horns. Now, we're going to go down, finally, to see the boilers. These are the boilers. There are 4 of them abreast. Each one has 3 furnaces. Pretty cool. Heats up the boiler. Let's see. That looks like maybe 37 PSI, pounds per square inch. This would have been in PSI. No. Would it have been in PSI? I know it's British, but still. Would it have been in PSI? I feel like Titanic's engines ran at 200 to 250 PSI. If this only goes up to 150, then that might not be PSI then. It might be some other measurement. It's interesting. If you guys know the answer as to if this is PSI or not, and if it is, why it only goes up to 150, please let me know. I do want to know. So this back wall here is one of the coal bunkers. These are one of these sliding access doors that allow the trimmers to, you know, shovel the coal out of the coal bunker. They put them on like carts. Let me see. There's one here somewhere. I just can't see because it's so dark. Like a wheelbarrow, essentially. And then they dumped them here next to the boilers. So the stokers had... Oh, there's a wheelbarrow. So they dumped them next to the boilers so that way they could easily, you know, access it from here. The stokers can't be expected to keep track of the trim of the ship. That's what the trimmers were for. They made sure that they evenly took coal out of the coal bunker so the ship didn't develop a list. So we are in the... This is the full width of the coal bunker. Beyond this wall, beyond that wall, beyond this ceiling, we're all surrounded by coal. Now, here's a cool new area that was not featured on previous demos. This is the alleyway that allowed the boiler room workers to go from their cabins, which are forward of the ship near the bow, and actually walk through this private tunnel to get to the boiler rooms without having been seen by other by other passengers and crew. So, unfortunately, the men of the, as they call them, the Black Gang, because they had the coal powder all over them. The men of the Black Gang, they were just seen as kind of like the most blue collar, like lowly paid working class of the working class people. Unfortunately, they did the hardest job, most dangerous job on the ship, and so no one wanted to see them. And so most of their time, this is the sad part, it was like this on Queen Mary at first as well. Most of their time was spent in darkness. They, on Titanic, they had cabins that were low into the ship, low enough that there usually wasn't windows in their cabin because they were so low, close to the waterline. It was actually not a good idea to have portholes down there. So they didn't often see daylight unless they went up for a smoke. The forward well deck on the ship, they could walk up there and like kind of smoke and mingle with third class passengers on their breaks and stuff like that. But aside from that, they never saw daylight. Never. And on the Queen Mary, it was like that. Granted, the Queen Mary was not coal-fired. She was oil-fired. But they still had, essentially the next of kin, if you will, of the Black Gang on the Queen Mary. And after World War II, they finally had enough. They all went through a series of protesting, picketing, essentially, their jobs, and they refused to return to work unless they were given better pay, better treatment. And so on the Queen Mary, what ended up happening was after the war, the Cunard Line ended up having to give these men better pay and relocate their cabins to the top of the ship. So above the Veranda Cafe on the Queen Mary, where the Sir Winston's restaurant is today, they constructed that area, became their cabins for the men of the boiler rooms. So that way they had a nice view of the ocean. They were on the top of the ship, essentially. They had a nice view of the ocean. They had an area where they could walk up above their cabins. There's a big open area up there where they could walk around and just relax and take a breather. Eventually that job became one of the best jobs you could have on an ocean liner after the war, because they were treated so well after that. So you could say finally, after decades of mistreatment, they were finally taken care of. So now we are closer to the aft of the ship. This area was previously in Demo 3 blocked off by crates and things. You still can't go down here, but down this way is third class cabins. As you can see on either side, just cabins. Same thing here. And then extra gangway. I'll go up here in a second. Here's another cargo hatch. What you're hearing is this vent goes down to the squash court, the first class squash court. So you're hearing them play squash. More cabins. I'm just going to show you this because it's all just cabins. Here's another cargo hatch, really big. More cabins. This area is inaccessible. More cabins. More cabins. So this stairway leads up to that room I just said I'll show you in a second. This is the same room, just know it's a different staircase, but same room. This is a multi-purpose room. As you can see, it mainly housed 2 massive cargo hatches and ventilators for this area of the ship. But it could be used by third class as a multi-purpose room. So as you can see, there's benches and tables everywhere for them to relax and you know, to mingle and chat and stuff like that. I believe in the movie Titanic, this is where Jack and Rose were doing that crazy dance where they were spinning and spinning around on that platform. That's the platform. I think, though, for the James Cameron movie, they didn't include these ventilators because it would have just gotten in the way of the shot. But essentially, this is the same room, just a big multi-purpose room. In fact, I never saw this, but here is, again, the same map I was showing you in second class of the ship's route, White Star Line routes. They also have that same map in the gymnasium of first class. So now we're going to go down the other staircase, and you'll find we are back at Scotland Road. So there is still more third class spaces I need to show you, but to get there, unfortunately, there's no way to connect through here. We have to go through the first class spaces to get to the final areas of third class. So you will actually get to see some first class spaces today. All right. We are at the first class grand staircase. Do you want to see the pool? I'll show you the pool real quick. We're right near the pool. Of course, you can see it in my previous videos, but you know, everyone wants to see the pool. In fact, I haven't seen the pool at night like this. They've fixed the lighting, because in the previous night version, the lighting was too dim in here. So they actually fixed it here. So I'll give you a quick tour around. Here's some towels. You can get inside the pool. If you crouch, you still don't get low enough to get beneath the water line, but, you know, it's still cool to be inside Titanic's swimming pool. These bare steel walls, from my understanding, the reason why a lot of the Titanic is like this, I assumed it was because they were cheap. But it might actually be possibly because there's a sense that steamships were these dirty ships you got on, and Titanic didn't want to have that thing. So showing the bare steel with just white paint on it made it look more sterile and clean, and it accentuated how clean the ship really was. So it's possible that's the reason why there's so much bare steel in the Titanic. Even in the first class bathrooms, it's just bare steel walls. No decoration. And that's probably why. This is one of the showers. Sprays you from all sides, essentially. Doesn't really... It's not any better than a shower would be today. It's just that... it looked nice. Ah, jeez. Smacked me in the face. That's the Turkish Baths down this way. I've already shown you the Turkish Baths in previous videos. Eventually, again, like I said, I'll do another video where I show the whole ship all at once. But we're focusing mainly on second and third class spaces today. So I'm going to take us now to that final remaining third class space on the ship that I haven't gotten to show you yet. To do that, we have to travel through first class to get there. So we have to go all the way up to C deck. So here we are. We can go down this way. To the left. Oop, bit of a lag there. To the left is the Strauss suite. You remember this one, of course. Very nice, very lovely. I don't remember that in the middle of the room. What is that? Ashtray? It's an ashtray, I think. I don't remember that on there, but... Oh, okay. Sorry. This is... Oh, it's too... Yeah. I don't... Yeah, okay, that's better. Alright, so now we're going to head to those third-class spaces I was telling you about. We're just gonna sprint through the ship to get there. Sprinting. 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 As you can see, there's no sheer. It's just a straight hallway. But like I said, final game, there will be. All right. I'm really excited. This is really amazing. I mean, the ship is beautiful. Like, they've done such... Even though this is just a demo... That, by the way, that is the second class library. I'm sorry, second class library. But like I said, even though this is a demo, it's absolutely beautiful. I've never seen anything like this before. You know, that they've put so much effort into recreating the Titanic that even in the demo it looks great. So I'm so excited. So anyway, this is underneath the poop deck. We've already been through here. This is the third class general room. It was kind of like a main lounge essentially for them. Complete with a piano and everything. Very nice. There's an identical room on the other side. That is their smoking room. Smoking rooms were for gentlemen only. There you go. The only difference between these rooms is that in this room, the paneling on the walls is a natural color. Now, I'll show you something new. So, last time we were here, we couldn't go down this stairwell. Well, now we can. There isn't much to see, don't get your hopes up. But, down this way would be third-class cabins. Unfortunately, this is as far as I can go. I cannot go any further. So this would all be third-class cabins this way. Just so you know. And then around back here, more of these fountain things that I have no idea what they are. They look like drinking fountains, but again, I don't think they are. We can't go down any further, unfortunately, but this is more third-class cabins. I think, so this deck is third-class cabins. Below this deck would be the steering gear for the ship. So beneath the steering gear, there's nothing else. There's no more decks beneath the steering gear. But yes, so that is the third-class cabins. This doorway leads into second class. I'll show you. So this is second-class cabins. And if you continue all the way forward, you come to one of the second-class staircases and the second-class dining saloon. Dining saloon, staircase. So that was the third-class spaces on the ship. There's one more thing I didn't get to show you, which was the elevator cart. Unless I did. Again, I recorded this whole thing before, so... but I don't remember if I recorded the elevator cart in this version that I was trying to get to. So here is the second class elevator. Nice, like, I really like that pattern. The red with the darker red. Really nice. Wood paneling. Well-lit ceiling. That is the lever that allows you to go either up or down. In fact, now that I'm in this elevator, I realize there is one more first class area that has become available. So we'll go this way. So there is one more first class space that has become available. And it is the elevator. So not this one, but the next one. The ship looks so beautiful with the night lighting. Looks great. Alright, which level? It's the level above. Okay. I thought I saw something. I guess not. Alright, so we have to go up the next level to see the elevators. What is this? B deck? Yeah. Alright, so so in the previous version of this demo, we saw that the elevators were parked here. All their gates are shut, but you could still see it was parked here. Well, now one of the gates is open, and we can actually walk inside the elevator. Yeah. Look how nice that is. Really beautiful. I think those openings are meant to be open to allow the air to pass through the elevator. It's almost self-ventilating, if you will. As the elevator goes up, the air pressure kind of pushes into the cabin, ventilates the cabin of the elevator so it doesn't get stuffy. So they can't do that today because, you know, weirdos and teenagers would try to climb up there and be like, hey, I'm on the top of the elevator. So this is really cool. I was talking to my friend Chris and I said, look, there's no lever here to move the elevator. And I saw this foot pedal and I realized that is how the elevator moved. So the foot pedal wouldn't have been very hard to push down or pull up, but you can push it down lightly to make the elevator go down, or you could pull it up to make the elevator go up. And then we were looking at this thing, this peg here, because there's no other pegs like it in the elevator. None whatsoever. That peg, I think, is a coat hook. I don't know for certain. Unless that is the lever. It kind of looks like a lever, doesn't it? But it's also just kind of melded. Whoops, sorry. It kind of does look like a lever. But you see how it's just missing parts. It might just be a coat hook. But I was saying, you know, it could be a coat hook. On the Queen Mary, they had people who operated the elevator. They were the lift operators. They operated the lifts. And back then, they were not allowed to leave the lifts. They had to stay there. So if you had to take a break and someone wasn't there to relieve you, you had to stay there, and maybe you took your break inside the lift and you just, you know, you hung up your coat or something and you closed the door and, you know, no one could access the elevator because you were on break. You have to use one of the other elevators. So I don't know. That is kind of a best guess that I have, essentially. But I don't know for certain. But yes. I wonder what that was. Here's one of the private promenades. There are 2 of these particular in this demo. This is only one of them. I can kind of zoom. See, I feel like the aspect ratio changed back to where it was too close. I feel like it's not at 86 anymore. Oh. There. This isn't new. This was in previous versions of this demo. But because I'm here, it's like, might as well, you know. This is one of the cabins. Obviously. Very nice. It's kind of cool because the table looks great. Well, sorry, that was really close. The table looks great. The chairs not so much. But again, this is probably one of those spaces that was never intended to be seen by the public. It was just there to model the ship and help them understand where everything is placed. This door doesn't open, but this one does. This leads out to the hallway. There we are. And just push through there. All right, folks. That is Titanic. We have... Oh, well, it's not even fully loaded. Oh, my gosh. Look at that. It's like the Twilight Zone. Oh, there you go. All right, so... Yes, that is... Oh, see, now I can have fine tuning to this. That's a little bit too morphed and weird looking. Yeah. You get the idea. Anyway, that is Titanic. Sorry that took so long. How long was that recording? Where is the stopwatch? 1 hour 9 seconds. That's actually not bad. The last one was half an hour, 1.5 hours long, so that's actually pretty good. All right, folks, stay tuned for future videos where I explore more of Titanic. We've seen everything there is to see. If you've watched all 3 videos, you've seen daytime first class, nighttime first class, and then this video is nighttime second and third class. I wanted to show it to you during daytime, but there is so many bugs with the daytime version of the ship in this version of the demo. So hopefully they fix that soon. There will be a link below to where you can download this. At the moment of this publishing, they haven't uploaded this version to their website, but they did provide a link to download it from Facebook, so I will include the Facebook link down below. If you click that link, it automatically downloads to your computer. It doesn't take you to Facebook. It automatically downloads to your computer. So just be aware. If they eventually upload the link to their website, I will then replace the link below with the website link so it doesn't automatically download when you click it. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this was really fun. I thought it was fun. I think the second and third class spaces look amazing. But anyway, this is a free demo and you can download it. You need a pretty beefy computer to run it, but hopefully, hopefully you can. So anyway, thanks so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.